So, Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. We're finally having these two movies merged into one, released nationwide in theatres. Finally being seen nationwide as Quentin Tarantino originally intended it to be seen. Yeah, so to kind of like just get into start off with my relationship with Tarantino films. I am a fan of Tarantino. I do feel like it's a bit of an his films are a bit of an enigma, or rather, my enjoyment of Tarantino films are a bit of an enigma, to be honest with you, because um, the guy has obviously showcases a lot of influences, a lot of different influences in his films, and it's got to a point where I feel like it's almost like Tarantino films have almost become a bit of a genre in themselves, and I say that because if we like just keep it on topic and related to the Kill Bill films, obviously the Kill Bill films were influenced largely by Hong Kong martial arts films. We had some like little homages to the Shaw Brothers here. We had some homages to Bruce Lee films, in particular Game of Death with a bride wearing Bruce Lee's yellow outfit. We had some nods to like spaghetti westerns of Sergio Leone. We have some like anime sequences, see in Kill Bill as well. All of these genres that I'm not necessarily particularly a big fan of. So yeah, but when you have these merged together in all of these films, I really enjoyed it. So it's a bit of an enigma for me that you basically have this 4.5 hour feat that kind of like merges a lot of influences that I haven't necessarily been a big fan of myself, but yeah, it totally works. It's weird. It's a bit like cooking, when you kind of like just throw all these ingredients and you go, it shouldn't work, but it does. Yeah, and I can say that about quite a lot of Tarantino films. So yeah, basically, yeah, to get back on track with Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, and what we essentially get here. Like I said, this is essentially the merging of the two films into one film, with a 15-minute intermission halfway through. The fact that we get these two films merged together means that the prologue at the beginning of volume 2, where we have Uma Thurman's a bride driving along, and she's, I'd say, basically essentially delivering this prologue and saying how she's going to kill Bill. All of that's kind of like omitted because that's all just kind of like excess at this point. We have an extended anime sequence. The anime sequence of that details Oren's backstory. We get a lot more of an extension there. We get several minutes added to that sequence. The showdown at the House of Blue Leaves is now in all full color. This presentation is unrated, so you don't have to worry about the censors. So we basically get that all in living color now, which is just glorious to see. But one of the most significant changes is also one of the most minute changes as well, because seeing as these are two get merged together, that final line at the end of volume one, where where basically and I'm going to drop a spoiler here, so anybody who hasn't seen Kill Bill, kind of like maybe just go away from this review, because I don't want to spoil it, because I think that what we're about to get into really add something for those who are maybe going into this film for the first time, and I don't want to ruin it. So you just got that little bit of a spoiler warning here. But yeah, the line that we get at the end of the first volume here, where Bill talks about the bride's daughter, that is totally omitted here, because that's only, and they say that it's only a minute change, because it is literally just that one line of dialogue that's cut out. But the way you experience this film, because of that, just totally changes. Because initially, when you go into volume two, with that line of dialogue, it puts you in a position where you're already ahead of the bride, right? You have a character, Bill, with this ace up his sleeve that he's revealed to the audience, so you know what this is, but the bride doesn't. So you're already ahead of the bride all throughout the second volume. And here you don't get that. So you're basically, so the reveal at the end basically just hits differently. The reveal at the end, where the bride just turns that corner with the intention of killing Bill, and instead she gets reunited with her daughter that she thought was dead. That just hits differently when you are essentially experiencing that reveal for the first time along with the bride. That just alters how this movie plays. So yeah, that's one of the most significant changes. Apart from obviously the prologue being omitted from the beginning, the second half of this film is practically untouched, from what I can remember. I don't think there have been any other real significant changes. But yeah, the way that you experience the second one, I think, is changed with that one line of dialogue being cut out. And I think that although the 4.5 hour runtime sounds Herculean, it is, I think it didn't feel like 4.5 hours, I'll be honest. The time seemed to go by quite rapidly, and I don't know if this is the case or whether this is just my personal interpretation and experience of it, but I think that Tarantino's somewhat unorthodox style of telling the story, where it's almost like structured not like a film but like a novel, where we have a story being chopped into different chapters, and each one of those chapters basically being these elongated scenes or sequences. I think that really helps break down a film like this, where you are really invested in this big running long running runtime. I think that it being structured in this way, by kind of like being broken down into these elongated sequences or chapters, I think that really helps this movie play. I really do. I going into this with a notion of seeing the two back to back, it did give me a little bit of a concern because the tonal differences and the pacing differences between the two Kill Bill films that we originally got are quite different. The first one is a lot more action packed. The second half is much more of a Tarantino doing very dialogue driven. I do think that seeing this play out and with all the little tweaks and edits that were made, I do think that it helps your experience of that second half of the movie. I was somebody who, when I originally saw the two Kill Bill films, I always felt a little bit let down by the second half. Not that I really disliked the movie in any way, but it did feel a bit of a letdown compared to how much I enjoyed the first one. And I'll be honest, just from that memory, I found myself enjoying the second half of this movie significantly more, I'll be honest. One of the on that note, one of the criticisms that's been aimed at the second half of this movie is that the finale with the showdown with Kill Bill is really anticlimactic, which it is. I would say that it's kind of like appropriately so, though. I think that when you get into this finale, where especially when you're having this change where the bride and the audiences are finding out about the reveal with the daughter for the first time, and how that kind of like hits differently, and a little bit that essentially you're going to after this, where you are kind of having the bride and daughter being reunited and kind of like going off into the sunset. It basically dictates that finale, that showdown between the bride and Bill, plays out exactly how it needs to be with those components in place. You know, you can't have this big bloody sword showdown thing, because then you can't just have a kid like kind of like witnessing that, and then they're just kind of like going off into the sunset, and you think, well, hang on a minute, what the hell, sort of thing. You need to have maybe Bill having this much more bloodless and almost kind of like dignified death, in order for that to work. So I think it all plays out exactly how it needs to be, and I do think it's interesting how that final showdown ends up kind of providing these kind of like bookends, where we essentially have Kill Bill opening where the bride is hunted down the first assassin, and they are having this big fight in their house, and they're interrupted by a kid coming back, and they say, we're not going to do this in front of a kid. And then you basically follow this whole story right to the finale, where we have a kid interjected into the mix as well, which just kind of like alters things. So I thought that was a really nice bookend, a really nice structure by Tarantino. The other thing we need to talk about here is the post-credits bit, where we essentially get an animated The Lost Chapter, tagged onto the end here. This was a segment that was written by Quentin Tarantino. It was originally meant to be added into the original cut of it, and then just basically got removed for time restraints. And we've finally seen it come to the light today this last week during Fortnite, believe it or not, which seems so out of left field. I can't really go too deep into it because I don't really play Fortnite, so I can't really comment too much on that side of it, but yeah, basically we essentially get this little several minute section tagged onto the post credit scene. It's animated in very much a way that's very typical of the Fortnite animation, and yeah. I think that it's worth sticking around for if you're going into this with a kind of a completist mentality, maybe. Then I think that it's worth checking out. But I don't think it's if you're watching this movie, you've been there for 4.5 hours, you're getting tired, you want to go home, you're desperate for a toilet break or whatever, you need to get off. I think you can just shoot it off, and I don't think you're going to miss out on a whole lot. I don't think there's anything truly significant to stick around for. It is more of just this little kind of like fun thing that's maybe just only worth kind of seeing if just for kind of completist purposes, maybe. But yeah, if you're not of that mindset, then I don't think it's necessarily you need to stick around for it. But yeah, just very very out of left field that we saw this finally come to the light today through Fortnite. Yeah, but yeah, that pretty much concludes it. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video, you want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your experience of the Kill Bill films are. Have you seen The Long Bloody Affair? Are you going to see The Long Bloody Affair? If so, what's your excitement level for all this? Let me know all that fun stuff down in the comment section, and until next time, I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.